We're hoping this is going to stream clearly. Okay, we're here and we're going to do a very quick update. Now, over the last 3 days, many of you have been purging. Okay, and now and then I do talk about the Schumann Resonance, even if I'm not pronouncing it right. You get the gist, okay? Now, we have very, very unique astrology coming up at the moment. And, for those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic medium. I cover astrology. I look at the Schumann Resonance. I try and connect the dots when it does come to helping you guys cope with what's going on. And that's from a spiritual point of view, from a holistic point of view, to cope with the energy, because as empaths, we do tend to connect in with energy. And the more this astrology is changing all of us collectively on the planet, some of this astrology links back to the hippie days, where, there was the flower power and it was, rebellion against the war. And we're really going back to that frequency, and it's sort of astrologically coming up, so to speak. So with the frequency, because we are having both Saturn and Jupiter moving into Aquarius, it is a very large shift. And as those planets start moving to that critical degree point, it is going to intensify. And although we do have trines, sextiles occurring, again, the intensity is coming. And it is, we're pretty much having from November, at the end of November, moving into now in December, we're moving towards the second eclipse. And this has been, one of those large years where I do believe we've had about 7. So it really has been hitting us for 6, on top of what has been going on in the collective connected to, illnesses and things to that degree, restrictions. Now, this year is really what we deemed, and I do remember talking about this about 2 to 3 years ago. And I was going through an incredible amount of, I'll just check if the chat's there. Hi, Dal. I was going through an incredible amount of ascension symptoms, what we call in the spiritual kind of world. And, with that, there was the dark night of the soul. I was feeling very chronically fatigued. I was trying to research the astrology to cope with these symptoms. Hi, Dal. Because, unless you're kind of going through it, you seek to understand, to heal, to cope. Now, with the Schumann Resonance, I did put a community tab up and it has spiked. So I'm going to be talking about that. We're going to touch base on a few things and the reasons why I'm leading up to this. Now, I did mention about 2 to 3 years ago, there would be something massive, and I can't remember what video it is, but I'll try and find it when I've got time, and I'll put it in the community chat. And I did say that I did believe there would be something in the collective that would occur on a grand scale that would shift us into our awakening. And that's usually because when you do go through a sudden transformation, we move away from ego and we're forced to directly work with each other. And sometimes really that is what does happen, i.e. Mother Nature, to bring us collectively together. So for many of you, even when we check the post, Giggle and I this morning, and we won't mention the amount yet, we'll get into that in a minute because we don't want to freak anyone out, because I've done some more research today. With spikes, I do tend to, me personally, experience it about 3 days prior. So if you had, for many of you, been feeling very tired, been feeling very sluggish, maybe purging through the ego, I always mention this, it is because the Schumann Resonance had spiked. Now, with what's going on in the collective, some people are saying they're not feeling anything at all. And yes, that's normal too, because part of the awakened process, it depends on the stage you're at. Again, if you're in a stage where you purge certain things through the third eye, because currently, and I'm going to swap back and forward between screens, because I do want to mention some of these things, some of these emotions, because we do have Mercury in Sagittarius. Psychologically speaking, you're looking at life through a lens of trying to understand how to pull everything together, but, very Virgo in nature, the analytical mind, we call it, in the spiritual community, we deem the ego as the monkey mind. So you're trying to understand it from a psychological or rational point of view, right? Jupiter being in that energy, which is Sagittarius, is like, let's go, let's get going, let's look at the bigger picture. And currently today we do have, I do believe, what is it? Uranus and Taurus. I think it was making a position to, let me double check, to Mars. Oh, Mars and Lilith, Black Moon Lilith is in Taurus. So we have Lilith conjunct Uranus and Taurus. So again, financially, our ego connected to finances, agriculture, food, Venus energies, both masculine and feminine, maybe in a bit of yin and yang. The nodes are sextiling Mars. Now, the nodes also quincunxing Venus. And, Giggle and I were talking about, for the collective, how we were feeling inside of our connections. Now, oddly enough, we did about a year and a half ago have the Schumann Resonance, I do believe, spike to 190. Now, Earth frequency is 7. It's around 7, and it's like getting grounded, right? And you're feeling all sorts of normal, very dense in the 3D, which is great. It's beautiful. It's lovely. When it spikes, and the reason it's spiking is because we are moving beyond 5D. And it's an awakening, so to speak. And it does make sense because with both Saturn and Jupiter moving into Aquarius, we're going to feel the shift regardless. So this isn't going to be one of those months, although there are beautiful aspects and we do deem it as the millionaire's conjunction. There's also the dynamic that with any shift that is large, that hasn't occurred in a very long time, it's not going to be subtle. It's going to be quite, nerve-wracking. So at the moment with the Schumann Resonance, you may find you feel nauseated. The bends, ringing in the ears, lightheaded, emotional. Yeah, but that's okay because when you're having an upgrade, you need to eat, So I always went by the notion of listening to what my body needed, and that's very important. Now, on this occasion, it has spiked to a very phenomenal amount, which I don't think it ever has before, 800, okay? Now, upon looking at it, this is two things, and we're going to get into the gist of it because it's quite scary when you hear it. You think, okay, should we be here? Now, let's get into it. Two things are happening. One, at an empath level, we are directly, empathically purging and feeling each other's energy. And some are, some aren't. If you've detached and you've moved into acceptance, you're probably more prepared, but you're going to feel more the vibration of feeling a bit off, feeling a bit tired, just trying to do your spiritual practice and what you need to do. And when we say spiritual practices, okay, now this is good as well. So it's not just negative. I'm going to get into it. So research been done. Let's have a look. And I'm going to break it down for you guys. Let me close a few windows. Now, it did reach, and it was there for about 4 hours. Now, let's get into this. This can be a yin or a yang, however we want to look at it. Bear with me as I'm staring into my screen and not your guys' eyes. Okay, so at Delta, we are at 4 hertz. At Theta, which is dreaming, flowing state, we are between 4 hertz and 7 hertz, okay? And it can be associated with drowsiness. It's very grounded energy. It's your intuition. It's dream state. Now, remember, we do have the moon currently in Leo, which is funny. It's like, okay, we've got the moon there. We've got Mercury in Sagittarius, which is third eye. So we've got both our third eye from a Jupiter energy and our emotions connected to our ego. At the moment, we're purging. So we're looking at these things. Sagittarius is very spiritual in nature. It's also Saturn's sun. So it's almost like, they're teaming up at the moment going, what, some shifts are going to happen here. And it's like father and son kind of battling it out. One is saying, son, slow down. The other is saying, dad, look, you're taking too long. Times are changing. So there's that frequency coming through. So physically speaking, at a very calm, neutral level, we have Delta. It then goes to Theta. Now, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. And it's where we feel very comfortable between Theta and Alpha, okay? Alpha goes to about 8 to 12 hertz. Now, when we move into the Beta, It's between 12 and 26 hertz. Now, let me read up on this a bit. Okay, so alpha, it's a normal, relaxed state. It's comfortable. It's still comfortable. Now, beta, walking consciousness and outward attention. Slow beta is between 12 and 17, is normal, but the higher you go, it gets to a point where, let me look. And this is where I thought, oh, wow, we are on a bit of a rise. Okay, so when we get to gamma, we're looking at higher consciousness. Now, this range, let me find the range. And I was like, are you serious? Very interesting. Gamma, between 30 and 59 hertz. Now, when you're looking at this, two things can come up. One, for a percentage of us, we can be anchoring the energy in. And if you have, in fact, and this is why we say collective consciousness and where you're at spiritually, yes, there are splits, and you can tune into it. You can basically check. You know, I don't tend to look at the news, but when my guides tell me, I'm guided to. And it is important to be present. We are here in the 3D, but also to be then to detach from the ego, to sit with anything that's coming up with you, and to be able to manage thyself. A lot of times when we are constantly looking outside of ourselves, we're in self-avoidance, and that vibration is a constant fluctuation until we can tame that energy and release. So when it's rising, this is what I'm sensing. We are having a very light body experience. Our vibration is rising and we're coming into collective consciousness. We're coming into a larger consciousness. They do believe that dolphins communicate from that wave, but it's higher than 59. So this is with Neptune and Pisces, which is consciousness. It's the crown chakra. We are having a global awakening. So this can go two ways. Number one, I would highly suggest if you are feeling very agitated, you can do guided meditation to get yourself grounded. So that can be taking your shoes off. To anchor your energy in, you can do breathing exercises. You can do guided meditation at the 4 to 7 hertz, earth-based hertz. And that can get you to a degree where you're anchored in and you're grounded. You can do breathing exercises and also go gentle on what you're eating at the moment, because you are going to feel a little bit disorientated trying to cope with that frequency. And you'll probably find about 2 to 3 days, but the agitation can be a warning sign of spiking that's coming. Now, we can't add to it because we need to bring the vibration to a comfortable level. So, you know, my suggestion would really be for those of you that are experiencing it and you're holding and anchoring that energy in, to, if you're not coping with it, get into your guided meditation. Get as grounded as possible. Don't interact with toxicity. Don't add to the fire if there is agitation in the collective. But accept that it is an upgrade for your DNA, so to speak. It's an upgrade. You're having an upgrade. There is a spiritual transformation, and purging can come with it. Some of you, you'll find that you are very comfortable. You can just feel anticipation, so to speak. Yeah, so again, guided meditation, breathing exercises, take your shoes off, get connected with earth. Try to tune out of the white noise, especially if you've got a problem you're dealing with at the moment and you just can't find a solution. Tap out of it a little bit and allow again to anchor that energy in. The fluid as well with the crown chakra is the only way to unblock it. And what you tend to find through the unblocking of your chakra systems, our blockages will come, look, because moon energy relates to emotions. The moon is in Leo, egoic. The moon is transiting over to Sagittarius, which again is Jupiter energy. And it's doing its transition this month. Jupiter's transiting from Capricorn over to Aquarius. So you can even see it happening with me. But at the end of the month, we're also going to have the full moon in Cancer, which is emotions. Moon energy can be the demeanor you take on because the sun and the moon are in very egoic signs at the moment. It can be inflammation, okay? We don't want to get moody. We don't want to get snappy at each other. We need to be able to self-manage. If we can't, yes, we seek out assistance, obviously. You know, we talk to somebody, we call a friend, we get professional help if we need it, but we try to get to a point where we can actually navigate ourselves to get grounded. I have my amethyst on my crown chakra. Yeah, don't try not to use crystals too much if it's overactivated, because what you can do is you can have a massive download. You know, crystals are great, but there's certain times you shouldn't use them. At 800 hertz, it's unprecedented. It's huge. So if you're not, and it will be psychic downloads. So at times, what you guys may find is you're having a very light body experience. And if you haven't experienced like seeing things, and you know, all of us are psychic. I'll be honest with you, but it's being able to remove the ego. You know, in various texts, and I'll just call it that, in, you know, quote unquote texts of biblical texts, so to speak, we talk about the secretion of the oil, which is the third eye. And it's, you know, to that point, when we can purge the ego, we're that open-minded that the things that we see, our senses increase because we are moving beyond the ego. And you still move back into ego again, especially people that are psychic, we do. But the more you can purge that egoic state, and you have a 3D circumstance that you're dealing with that's very difficult, that you can just detach from it and think like you're in the matrix, so to speak, and this is all simulation, the obstacles remove very quickly. It's very unique how it works, but it's just practicing that. And until you actually start practicing it, you then start seeing the evidence, and then it starts moving, and you actually realize we all really are psychic and we all are magician energy. So with the Schumann resonance being that high, if you guys are inclined to seeing things, and I'll just be honest with you, seeing dead people, seeing ghosts, seeing things to that degree, having out-of-body experiences, astro traveling, sensory energy, you know, things to that degree, it can be quite frightening when it's opened up. And because the crown chakra is highly activated, you don't want to over amplify it if you're not energetically prepared for that psychic download, you know, because it can be very overwhelming and frightening, and you can think you're going bananas. So it's better to be careful during this time and do regularly, you know, keep an eye on where the Schumann resonance are. If you find you're really, really agitated, especially from an empath point of view, go and check the Schumann resonance. Another thing can be empathically, who were you tuning into previously? And if you feel that when you're tuning into them, your vibe is getting very off and aggressive, tune out. As I've mentioned, you can get a smudge stick. You can breathe the energy out of your body like you're giving the thought process an exorcism and you're getting rid of it. And smudge stick your head and tune into something pleasant for about 20 seconds and just disconnect and don't go back to that thought. And if it's really heavy, go and have a shower. I have been having blissful feelings in my heart, which I did mention towards the end of this year. If you guys are purging the egoic presence and you're getting into that detached, going with the flow, you know, not fighting against the rapids, you will get into that euphoric energy. So the euphoric energy for many is present if you've detached, if you're accepting and you're not fighting, and you're not getting triggered by what you're seeing in the media, or you know, ripped into a whirlwind of things, and trying to just be very present in this one moment. It's the only way you can cope psychologically is realizing what we do and don't have control over. So coming back to this one moment. I mean, if we were to definitely look at everything, we probably wouldn't get out of bed. Let's just be perfectly honest. So it's about coming back to this present moment and being in the gratitude of what you have directly in front of you. That is our responsibility, our given situation. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, the more you're in detachment, the more things flow. Yes, you are. But again, union is a state of being. It's You're never perfect, but when you're in acceptance of it and you don't get triggered if they go and triggered if they come back, you're just like, hey, how are you? Yeah, it's just flowing because you're no longer allowing a memory, a pain body experience, a twin, an ex, a new person to trigger you because it no longer defines you because you've come home to yourself. And the more you can do that, and I mentioned on one of my videos that twin will never heal you. They do through triggering you, which sounds quite narcissistic, but it's like through the circumstances. But automatically, if they were to come back and say to you, I'm sorry, unless you make peace with that, it's not going to fix it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the making peace with it is the biggest task. And it's really unfortunate because, sticks and stones can break our bones, but names will never hurt us. It's a total lie because we fixate on it in the ego and we attach to it. The ego tells us that if that ever happens again, the fight and flight comes up. And if that then does occur, we go back into that reaction, that reactory kind of way of being. But the thing is, does that serve us if it's preventing us constantly from moving through our fear-based frequencies and seeing something from a different perspective? Just because we burnt our hand on a stove doesn't mean we never can cook again. No, we need to move around it and learn a lesson and then move forward. But it's when those things are preventing us from dealing with human beings, it does become a real problem. And when you do step back and actually look at how situational shifts have affected every facet of your life, you actually realize through the twin flame path, the most freeing point is to be able to self-master and to be able to be in acceptance of not chasing, not feeling that, because you were good, you did something wrong. No, you didn't. If you were bad, that you can't be forgiven. No, we are forgivable. That we can't transform and change. Yes, we can. So it's looking at that perspective and being able to look at any human being on this planet that way. Whether they get there or not is their job, but letting them actually do that. And psychically speaking, you're both interconnected. There you go, Ange. So, any questions at the moment relating to? So, from the Schumann Resonance point of view, I would say at the moment we're having a major upgrade. I would say there is about, I did mention that certain light workers would be positioned around the globe at the moment, and we are to anchor the energy in. You can't do that, while you're angry, aggressive, and anger and aggression is coming up. Don't get me wrong, but being in awareness of it and trying to actually, pull yourself back down, get back down into that grounded sense, and have a look around and know that yes, we will move forward, and yes, we are a team, we're a tribe, and we can do this. But to do it in a healthy format. But it's not just for everyone; it's for you too. We don't want to become part of the problem. We want to become part of the solution. I'll do a few at the end, we'll just get the chat going first, and then I'll do a few at the end. I'm upgrading at the moment the website. So for those of you that have subbed on the website, I am going to be doing mini posts and things on there per zodiac sign. I'm still doing them here, and I'm going to have a lot more content, but I did have to upgrade the website because it was getting a little bit old and not really who I am anymore. Yeah, well, the energy, look, probably from October, I feel it was really spiking. I am going to be doing an interview with Mark from Intuitive Perceptions probably during this week, and it will be relating to those of you who are going to be having a Saturn return. Saturn returns can be really yucky. I just seen an orb off the corner. And with the Saturn return, he's experienced one. So with that, we are going to be having a joint venture on here to have a bit of a chat and have an interview about it to give you guys a bit of information so that if you are born in the 90s and you are in fact going to be having that Saturn return, that you guys are prepared mentally, psychologically, and spiritually. But the ringing in the ears will be because you are having your upgrade. Obviously, if there's medical things, please go have a look. But, from the high-pitched, the crown chakra being activated, and we can deem it as light codes. We're getting into light body frequency. Look at the way whales directly communicate with each other. So we are from a psyche having that upgrade. And yeah, the dizziness. Even tonight. Yeah. Yeah, not fun. It can feel, for a Saturn return, it can feel very karmic in nature because it's almost like you're going to level up. Yeah, mine in the left as well. And look, a lot of times when you have it on one side or the other, there's an imbalance between the masculine and the feminine. And I can't remember which side at this point. I'll do a video based on that. Depends on where's the pain coming from, sweet. Again, obviously, keep your hydration up. Get a checkup if you need to. But from a chakra point of view, some blockages can come from certain points. Hi, Stefan. How you doing? How's twin? Is she in the house? Oh, crack. Soul union. Yeah, well, the base chakra again will be linking to, I'd say, Saturn and Capricorn. But and it is at the critical degrees almost. So in the next few days, any placement you guys had Capricorn, it's going to be a little bit tough. How do you clean the energy? I am in such a negative place right now. Give yourself mentally a break from whatever it is that you're continuing in a storyline in your head. If it's one particular subject matter, and I had this come up for me 2 days ago. I sat there. Hi, Dale. I sat there the other day and I was like, all of a sudden, daughter was out, twin was in bed, and I sat, and it was a lot of things. It wasn't anything as per se, but it was this wave of emotion coming up. And it was like, when you've been working really hard and trying to get your ducks in a row. And I was like, oh my God, why am I doing this for? And it was just everything. And I found myself purging, and because doors were closed, spiritually, psychologically, in my mind, in my egoic monkey mind, I was feeling that way. So it depends on what it's relating on, Dale. But for me at that moment, I think because I have worked on myself a very long time, especially when I was in separation away from twin, or I was having a circumstance that wasn't going very well, it was looking at it and saying to myself, okay, how long am I allowed to tune into this one given subject for? Am I indulging myself with it? Is it serving me any? And can I take a holiday from just that thought process for 1 minute? And it was almost giving me a holiday from thinking about it and saying, okay, Yildiz, you need to take a break on this and do something productive. But the more we stay in that, it's almost like when the spikes and the ebbs and flows of it come in, it's having to do something that is more positive in nature. And it can just be going for a walk. It can be getting to a point you're connecting in and doing something creatively, especially inner child wounds. It can be dancing, walking, something moving that energy, eating the yellow food groups, but doing something playful, creative. That's upgrading that energy in that chakra. If it is to do with your base chakra and your foundation, it's generally financial. It's your ability to, change things. Well, your first house placement, at least you guys as Capricorns, you're going to get a break. Pluto's just going to be there. So the rest of them are just going to go away for a little bit and leave you be. But again, I do believe with Capricorn, Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, Aries, you guys have really Taurus as well. Sagittarius, Gemini, you guys are all getting hit at the moment. And that's due to the placements in astrology. And look, most of you really are. It's just really for Cancer and Capricorns, probably for the last, God knows how long, it's been really heavy for you guys. And you guys are set to have a very different life. Capricorn, Sagittarius is in your 12th house at the moment, so your spirituality is really changing. And again, it will be hitting you both natally because we've got Sagittarius in your 12th house, but you've also got Mercury's there. So cognitively speaking, the way you see things, you may be able to implement certain things as we move forward. But it'll be, if you've been working hard and you've applied some of those thought processes into your life, it'll start moving. You'll get some Jupiter benefits. So what have you been thinking about, my sweet? What are the subject matters? What did Stefan write? Back home in Canada, 14-day isolation or 7. Yeah. Yes, it's very true, Stefan. I think, and I did mention that in the Zodiac signs, it's like under offer, over deliver them, because you're able to achieve it. But we don't have Mars direct yet. So it makes it difficult. But when I say Mars, I mean Aries and Chiron. Mars is direct, but we had Mars retrograde for some time. I believe it was 8 weeks. We also had Aries and Chiron, and it's only just going direct on the 15th. So as that moves direct, you'll have more energy. But the frustration, the anger, the ego can be coming out, and just trying to get things done and having way too much on your plate, feeling really overburdened. That's the good old Capricorn energy at the moment in astrology. Everyone collectively has felt like you were on your own, trying to do everything. Doesn't matter if you're in a coupledom or not. You have felt isolated, black sheep of the family on your own. So as it moves forward, there are circumstances that potentially can play out to bring us together. I'm hoping they're good things. But whatever they are, they will bring us together, and there will be that team orientation energy. But we really need to be very careful not to turn into pack mentality, especially in 2021. Because, there's no I in team. You've got to be a team to get anything done. Felt isolated a lot of the year. That is part of union with self, is to learn that we're never alone. How do I put it? The aloneness can be, I almost felt that, I think I remember saying back in 2017-18, for the ascension symptoms I was experiencing and what I was moving into, I probably needed a lobotomy or to become like Spock. So those things didn't affect me. And it's amazing when you look at it, how do Buddhist monks, they go into silence and they're able to sit with that. And then they're not looking outside of themselves for anything. They're coming back inside, and all that nurturing when we were children. What we didn't realize was a lot of those wounds came up where we had codependency. Really, when you're busy, have you ever noticed you don't feel that loneliness? You don't feel that fear-based frequency or victimhood sometimes that we can go through when we're petrified. So I tended to find in my alone time over 12 months, and I've been alone before, but to really have that solitude, really put myself in the naughty corner. And this is where the awakening, it's almost like some of these things people can't actually fix. So when you're alone, that of what you were scared of, you're actually living. You will never be scared of it again. And then if you ever are faced with a circumstance, you won't stick about because it doesn't serve you. You will be in that self-love mode that you will say, this does not serve me. So that alone time and that separation time in society builds you up to a point you actually invest in yourself and you get to know who you are. And a lot of times we overtly live through other people and we have no idea who we are. And I had that statement made to me probably when I was in my 20s. In a relationship I was in, and it was a friend of my husband's at the time, and he says, sweet, you don't know who you are. And I didn't know what that meant, and we never really do know who we are. We're evolving and moving through our life, and we're transforming every day. So we're never the person we were last year. We're different. People may judge us based on that past, but it's not true because we're constantly evolving and not that person. It's their fear-based frequency that brings it up, because they're continuing to live in the past, but we don't live there anymore. And that's where in twin flame journeys, we have to understand you're repeating a cycle inside your mind. When you spiritually and psychologically detach, you're choosing to move forward. You're no longer letting that hold you back. And it doesn't mean to say that those hurts won't come up, but you're diffusing them to a point they don't master you anymore. You master them. You're not allowing them to be weapons inside of you to sabotage you, prevent you, stop you from receiving love in any shape or form. You're actually allowing it to be, yeah, okay, thank you for that. I learned lessons. That wasn't great, but hey, maybe that was where that person was at that point. Does it mean I can never forgive or no? And if you don't forgive, you're actually holding that like a weapon inside you for the rest of your life, and it's very toxic. It becomes very uncomfortable. But universe always brings it back, and I went through the same. I was like, gee, I've got so used to my own company. I was loving it. And my daughter would say, aren't you bored, Mum? And I'm going, no, this is bliss. It's bliss. You do get used to it. My spiritual practice was waking up in the morning, and I would do my gardening, I would clean, I would have my meditation music on, I would go for my walk, I'd go for my walk at night time. I was eating vegan, I was growing my vegetables, I was cleansing my house. I was doing a lot of YouTube readings, coaching like this at 10:30 at night. Jeez, I must be crazy. Not just Skype calls. Very true, Stefan. I still have to have you two on the channel. Thanks, sweet. It's all a state of mind. It's all a state of mind. What do you deem as freedom? Yes. Well, I'm getting everything set up. I've changed my website. So I've got, I'm creating a members hub. I do have members there anyway. So you guys get the articles I write and things like that. And I've added zodiac signs on there. So if I have anything that comes to me, I can type it up. Hopefully next year there's going to be chakra recipe of the month, and that can be linking into what's coming up with the astrology, what's the main area, how to deal with it, maybe some smoothies and things like that we can do. Gemstones relating to that month, romance reads as well as the astrology. So I'm trying to break it into components, and the creative content will be numerology, animal totems, how to develop your spiritual gift. On my website, I'm going to be doing coaching sessions and group sessions. I'm working out whether it's going to be Skype or Zoom at the moment. So there will be a lot more things that will be added next year. There's been a lot of synchronistic events at the moment as well, and people from the past coming back. So if you've been having memory sets and they're kind of flooding through, and you're having dream states at the moment, dreams are off the Richter scale. Very strange, point blank zero. Again, I do still have the special up. So if you are wanting the special on the website, grab it soon, because we're nearing Christmas and New Year's, and I will be blocking sections off. So you can, with the special that I have up, book January, February, March, whenever you want, but it's only going to be up for another couple of days, and then I'm taking it down. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. With Schumann Resonance being that high, plus we have Crown Chakra, we've got Neptune and Pisces going direct. It's 12th house. It's spiking. So your 4D in between and your out of body experience, you need to make sure that you're looking after your chakra system. So that would be drinking fluid, not taking anything that's toxic that can kind of, take you out of that state of being grounded. Clearing to do and shadow or mirror work. Let me think. At the moment, look, I'll talk collectively. because automatically at the moment, mid-month is where masculines are going to have a major shift. So many of you are going to be experiencing that in very unique ways. Because they are both linked to both Mars and Jupiter. They did have 2 transits this year that were quite hectic on them. And at the moment, they've still got the little residue of Aries and Chiron hitting them. So because they're related to Mars, we had Mars retrograde. That was for over 8 weeks. Then it went direct, but we also had Aries and Chiron retrograde. So their reflective sense inside themselves is really coming up at the moment. Most of the feminines at the moment are very much purging the ego, feeling very disillusioned. Again, we do have crown chakra. We've got Venus and Scorpio. There can be all these hurts, betrayals, feeling very protected of ourselves. We're Venus energy. We need to just be in awareness of that and come back to our spiritual self. Let anything that's coming up come up so we can clear it, so we can be open in receivership mode. But the yin and yang is incredibly imbalanced at the moment. So, trying to stay grounded and allowing that to kind of flow is really necessary at the moment. Now, as we have Jupiter transiting, and I do believe it's on the 17th or is it the 19th? We've got Saturn moving on, where have I got it? Okay, so Jupiter's transiting on the 19th. As it transits, insects are coming up as well. As it transits, it's moving over and it's shifting their energy. And this is where it's joining with Sagittarius. That Sagittarius eclipse, very similar energy. It's connected to masculines. Also, as we have Jupiter move over into Aquarius, again, them looking at the bigger picture of where they want to be, how they can be of service, how they can interconnect, is going to be coming up where we can bind in tribe energies with the correct energies. So those things to a degree are really triggering masculines at the moment. So many of you won't have a lot of movement yet till mid-month. You're still going to have communication, but because we just had Neptune and Pisces on the 29th go direct, a lot of us are still trying to understand and make sense of everything that's going on. And this whole year was the masculine's awakening. I mean, some people could have said, hey, basically, yes, you're going to have contact during the year, but to be quite honest, in that ascension process, what we had in our ascension process over maybe a 3 to 5 year stint, theirs is being done in a 1 to 2 year stint. So it's actually really condensed to a degree. Rubbish. Everything's larger in America. I want to come over there for the coffees. I had to go to Melbourne for an American style coffee. I was like, winning, triple espresso, hit me with it. I was jet lagged. I love my coffee. No one can mess with me and my caffeine. Okay, so spiders. Spiders are very psychic in nature. If you do look at it, it can be the intricate web we weave in a manifestation. Yes, okay, there is that undertone as well, but it can be psychic energy, mastery, and I just saw something go over the screen. Shanice, shush. Centipedes. Yeah, look, do research it at the moment. I'm having a lot of insects. But again, even the weather pattern over the Antarctica is changing. If you research, we're having a big shift. But again, because the 4D is in between, we can have very odd things. Now, a lot of insects that haven't been there are coming through. A lot of doomsday preppers will be talking about apocalyptic events, so to speak. But it feels as though, and I would say it's like an upgrade of the planet. Around eclipses, you tend to have wetter weather, windy weather, hotter weather. Because we have Aries and Chiron retrograde, any Mars aspects that are being made to certain planets can cause fires, air and fire. Yes. Yeah, I love coffee too. Okay, anyway, I will pull a card for my beautiful. Where am I? I'll go back. Oh, yeah, I've been having, look, I'm telling you, cockroaches, I just don't like cockroaches. They come near me, I'm just like, no, it's not happening. I had a really bad situation with a cockroach. We had a fight in the shower. It just wasn't pretty. I'm telling you, I'm seeing things. How far up was I? Okay. Maria. Automatically, if any of us have any karmic situation we need to clear out, it can cause blockages. I'll just be honest. So if there is a karmic that feminines are holding on to, either from a psychological point of view or in the 3D, it can cause delays. Doesn't mean to say things won't move, but it can cause delays. Let's see what she needs to know. Interesting. This has been coming up a lot. I would definitely say for you, Maria, there are things at the moment that are up in the air, i.e., as I mentioned, once both Saturn and Jupiter move into the air signs, connections are going to be more conducive. And it's spirit of air. So I did mention that time frame before I pulled the card. I've been feeling, I've been having dreams about situations like that. I don't know why it's coming up. And I'm like, that's interesting. Thank you for giving me that. And I was like, did I eat chocolate before bed? Yes, it is. In Sagittarius. Okay. Yep. They're ready. They are really, really ready. Even tuning into them. You guys won't expect it. A lot of masculines are very ready to move forward. Very, very ready. It's almost like the start but on a race. But, you know, how would you guys directly feel if they did turn up right now and said, right, we're going. Let's go. You know, what we feel automatically is very different to what it is when it happens. When we're asked that question, I'm struggling to get out of hermit. There's no safety in hermit mode. It's just a psychological time to process and understand everything. It's a psychological way. You could call it psychological. Yeah, I won't say that word on YouTube. It's a way of understanding it. Yeah. Thank you for those of you who have liked this video so other people can get the notification. I'm struggling to get out of hermit mode. Underwhelming. Yeah, look, like I said, at the moment, you can go to any reader and look, ones that do twin flame astrology will tell you this movement at the moment is the calm before the storm. As it moves forward, that's where things are shifting. Oh, sweet. What would you like to know? You can always go donate on the website. What would you like to know? I'll pull a card for you, Soul Union. What was your question first? Because this is interesting. What's come up? Oh, Dawn. I'll talk to you in a minute, Dawn. Soul Union, what would you like to know, sweet? Okay. What I'm seeing is you are questioning whether you are a twin. Am I right or wrong? You're like, is something being hidden from me? Am I seeing this correctly? Hello, Maz K. Yes. Welcome. Because you've got the trickster energy, right? So, okay, well, you've got to tune out of that, because when we're psychologically trying to understand something, what it tends to do is it repeats that pattern and attracts that vibration. Once you let go of it, and at the moment, all of us collectively, because we have the moon moving into Leo, we're in our ego, we're thinking, it's strengths, but it's emotions. Moon is emotion. It can also be feminine related. Maybe us coming across a bit too masculine in nature, trying to protect ourselves, which, yeah, from a 3D, that's necessary. But from a circumstantial situation of pain body experience, no, it's not going to work. So when you're going through that process, it's the thing is, if we were to take the term a twin flame away, does anybody need to tell you who your real twin is or who your fake twin is? Do you love that person? And if you love that person, nobody can tell you to love them or that you shouldn't love them, but society. Okay. And that's the funny thing. So we go through this psychological analysis of a circumstance when we can simplify it by moving into the heart. And Leo is heart chakra. Okay. So trickster. Move away from the self-fulfilling prophecies, soul union that you had going on, because they're not helping you. They're just running you in a loop. Go into alignment of who you are and accept it. Go into alignment of who you love, be in acceptance and trust the process. And if you're thinking of what you would need to solve for them, that blocks it. So tune out of it. Let it go. I used to do that myself. It'd be like, oh, he needs to do this and that and this complications there. And it was like, that's not your job, Yildiz. Tune out and things float. There you go. Yeah, me too. 4 years ago. And I've been a psychic medium since I was like a child. And I was like, what? Oh, no, really? I was like, is there a cure? Is there a cure? Okay, Dawn. I don't need the cards, Dawn. Okay, Dawn. I'm seeing you sitting outside in the courtyard. Now, is this at your current address or previous address? I'm not sure. I'm seeing you sitting outside. This can be you looking back to a memory. I do feel something has happened in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and it's had you a bit stumped and you're kind of mulling over it. This could have been old memories, or it might have been a circumstance with the communication of that person. What was that conversation, Dawn? What were you thinking about? You sure you're not a twin now? Welcome, Mazko. Are you going to tell me, Dawn, or do I have to Skype you? I'm seeing things aren't so peachy over left field over there. It might be painted in that fashion, but the end is near. Okay, the end is nigh. It's not. Look, it's over there. That BS. It's just not. It's not your problem, right? That's why they keep coming to chat to you about problem number 1, which is them, their situation, and who do they turn to for that communication. I've told you this before. The thing is, am I Turkish? I am a bit of everything. I'm English, Irish, French, Turkish, and I was born in New Zealand and I live in Australia. So, okay, from the perspective, how do I explain it from your situation? When they come to you, they basically are living in a toxic situation or a circumstance, and they're in that victim consciousness energy, right? So when they're in that victim consciousness energy, they come to you and they complain about it like they want to be saved. But the thing is, then when a suggestion is given, they reject it and they go back and live in it. So it's almost like they get one energy from this situation here and they get another energy from you. But the thing is, you are both of those things they can receive. But it's not feeding it. You can't feed it. You need to give them the power back and not react similar to a karmic. So it's like, okay then. And it's almost like pouring that investment back into your life to the point you're diffusing that is even affecting you. Because sometimes they will actually use the karmic to try and make you jealous. And when you actually diffuse that and you look at it like, you can have that, that's fine, go for God, that irritates them further. And at times it can look like they are forming narcissistic tendencies, but you can't feed the demon. But the demon is the fear-based frequency. It's not the human being. It's the feelings, the emotions, the challenge of those things from the childhood wounds to get to a point that they can challenge it and take what they want. You taking it personal is not going to serve anything. It's like we have to be our own therapist to a degree, and we're saying to ourselves, okay, I'm telling myself false, fulfilling prophecies. It's not your job to heal them. It's their job to heal themselves. And they're never going to get fed the whole meal there because you wouldn't be complaining about it if it was that great in the first place. You're making it easier for them to cope and stay. Stop making it so easy for them to cope and stay. Does that make sense? Dawn, does it make sense? When they come over, oh, they blah, blah, blah. What are you going to do about that? Okay, then I've got to go out. Nice chat. No, unions won't be coming through till after the eclipse. They'll amp up after that. Yeah, you don't have time for venting. You're not the therapist, okay? You're either going to be, and this is what I've always said, in any connection, you don't even need to take a twin flame. Are you the nurse or are you the partner? And if you don't want to be a friend, don't be the nurse. The nurse is different, okay? Right. I'm not your nurse. I'm friendly with you, but I've been hearing the same situation. I have love and thought for you. You clearly deserve better, but you don't believe you do. So I have to go. I've got some shopping to do. I need to wash my hair. And I know it's scary when you are in love with a twin. You're like, oh, I can never say that. Yeah, you can. Yeah. And you don't have to be mean. You do it with, it's just keeping yourself busy. Don't be on tap, okay? You're on tap. That you're helping them up. And then they're going back to hell. Why do you want to help them go back to hell? I went through a very unique circumstance in my twin flame journey, and trust me, I wanted to go in with the fire brigade and all the rest of it to go rescue, and it wasn't my job. Because you can't stop a person from having a life experience. It's not your job to be above ego and to say, hey, you know what, you're a victim or you're this or you're that. No, that's their life to live. They will get to the point, if it really, really is not what they want, they will leave. We all learn those lessons. How many of us have been in a situation in our lives, and especially me, really, really young, in a circumstance of like, what the hell was I doing there? And I was so scared to leave. And then I got back and then I went back out and I was like trying to convince myself I could accept it. And I'll go back. And then, you know, you leave again. At some point you do outgrow things that aren't healthy for you. So trust that process. My DM won't even allow that. I tested him while Most welcome. Okay, any last question? And if I've missed people, please feel free to book a reading. I will be here again during the week. Yeah. I can pull a card. I can't do full-blown readings on here. I can give you channeled messages, quickies, because we've got 42 people that I can see in the chat, but I can't give a full-blown reading. What would you like to know? You can ask a question. What would you like to know, my love? You get a weird feeling. That's okay, Soul Union. What would you like to know, Dal? I love your name. I don't know. There's one thing I'm seeing. I'm seeing this. There's a location that's been shown to me, and I don't know why they're showing me this, but it's on a mountain. It feels like a temple, but it's on a mountain. Now, this can be a holiday destination. It can be somewhere that you've been with this person, or it could be that somewhere where you've been with another person. This location feels extremely spiritual, but it's very peaceful. I'm being shown the term honeymoon, and I don't know why. So is there like, because I'm seeing it in hills, but I am seeing this as a potential of even you being overseas. This feels, look, the vision of it can either be similar to New Zealand, or it can be similar to where the Incas were. But it's weird. It's like there is a hill, and it's very, very green. It's very, very quiet. There's not a lot of people around. And I'm seeing a homestead on this location, but I feel both your energies there. Has he felt quite run down at the moment and not unwell? I did a facial. He's very protected. The unwell energy is, how do I put it? Whatever the circumstances surrounding him, he has his guides around him at the moment. Okay? Are you concerned about him? Oh, thanks, Star. His guides are telling me that you need to trust the process. His soul is going to decide what that is to be, but he's very at peace. He's very, very at peace. But he's very, very spiritual as well. He's having these out-of-body experiences. He is connecting with some guides at the moment. If he has been around, look, I don't know whether it's a holy man or a spiritualist or something like that. This looks like a temple. It feels spiritual in nature, but it does feel there is. They might be making a suggestion to looking outside the box. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm saying, because my guides, when they communicate with me, a lot of times they can tend to give me cryptic messages. So that you, the receiver, understands it, and not necessarily do I have to say it in layman's terms. But they're saying look for alternatives to what you have been doing at the moment. But I'm also seeing Yeah, I'm seeing this location. Look, there's a potential you guys may go later. Are you guys directly married? That's what it looks like. But I'm seeing a holy man there, and he's doing a ritual. Now,